Hi all, I am Nitin. Good morning to all of you. So in yesterday's session, I have written a playbook to install and configure nginx web server. So this was my playbook. In this playbook, I have several tasks like downloading the repo, installing nginx web server, and updating index.html file, and finally starting the nginx web services. Okay, so in updating index.html task, I have used module as template. Okay, so what is the use of template? So see, template will be used when you have different configuration across all the nodes. Okay, so when you will be configuring your web server, you cannot copy the same configuration file or same index.html file across all the nodes, right? So it has to be different, or you know uh, some of the configuration file, you might be having node specific information, you might be having IP address of the server, you might be having host name of the server. So the configuration file will be specific to the node. Okay, so for those cases you can use template. Okay, so that was the reason I used template on in my playbook. Okay, so if you will open it, if you will open Ginger2 template file, that is index.html.j2, J2 stands for Ginger2. So in this file, I have added one more line saying that my machine IP address is double braces Ansible underscore default underscore IPv4 dot address. So this is the variable name. Okay, this is the Ansible fact variable name. Okay, and the value of this variable will be the IP address of your machine. Okay, so on Red Hat server 1, if you will go there, then you should be able to see IP address of this machine in your index.html file. Okay, let's see. So this is the index.html file on the server. You can see the IP address. It is 62.11, which is your machine IP address. Okay. Likewise, you can go to other server. Okay, and open index.html file. So this is the IP address of your machine. Okay, so this is a node specific file. Okay, for this purpose, I used template in my playbook. Okay, so in today's session, I will enable SSL authentication to my nginx web server. Okay, so for enabling SSL authentication, I should have I should have private key and self-signed certificate. Okay, so let's create that private key as well as self-signed certificate on your machine, on your Ansible control machine. Okay, so in Linux there is a command OpenSSL, using which you can create self-signed certificate. Okay, so this was the command to create private key and your self-signed certificate. Okay, so let's do one thing. Just create a directory called files. I think it is already there. Let's remove it. Okay, now create it once again and run OpenSSL command. Okay, so it what it will do, it will generate two files inside your files directory. It will generate nginx.crt. So this is self-signed certificate and this is private key. Okay, so what I'll do, I will use these two file to enable authentication on my nginx web server. Okay, so I will copy these two files in my remote servers. Okay, so let's modify your existing playbook. So I will also tell you how to declare variables. Okay, so let's declare two variable here. I'm going to define first variable as key underscore file, and the location of this the value of this variable will be etc nginx ssl. Let us say nginx dot key. Okay, and I will define one more variable. Let's say cert dot file, and give the location as nginx dot crt. Okay, so instead of using the full path again and again in my playbook, I can use the variable name. Okay, I can just use the variable name. So I will tell you how to use this variable name in your playbook. Okay, so let's go below in your playbook, and I have given the location as etc nginx ssl. So let's check if ssl directory is already created on your web servers or not. No, it is not there. So we have to have a task to create this directory. Okay, so let's add a task just above to the task which is for starting your nginx web service. So here what I'm doing, I'm going to create a ssl directory, and for that I will be using file as a module, and I will say path as nginx ssl. Okay, so what it will do, it will create this directory for me. Okay, so this task will create etc nginx ssl directory on my remote machines. Okay, so let's add one more task. I will copy this key file to my remote server. Okay, so let's say the name of the task is copy key underscore file to remote server. Okay, and here you can use copy as a module, and you can say files, I'm sorry, just say source is equal to files slash what was the name of your uh, you know uh, nginx nginx dot key. So this was the private key mm, file name, okay, which you are going to copy to your remote server, and say the destination is I have declared the variable already, so you can use the variable here. Okay, I will say key underscore file. Okay, so what I'll say, key underscore file. So you need not to give the full path here, so you can just say the variable name. Okay, and you can set the permission for this file as 400, and you can say owner as root, and group ownership to root. Okay, so we have copied my private key to the remote server. Now copy the cert file to remote server. So let's do that same. I will be using copy as a module. nginx dot cert, destination would be your cert dot cert underscore file. Okay, and you can say mode as 644. Owner you can set it as root. Group you can set it as root. Okay, now to enable ssl authentication, if you will go to your remote machine, there is a file inside your nginx. There is a file default.conf. Inside your directory etc nginx conf.d, there is a file default.conf. Okay, so if you will open it, so the content of this file is this. Okay, So you have defined the root location, you have defined the port number, server name. So there are some parameters which you have defined in your default.conf file. Okay. So I will manage this. I will, you can say I will update this default.conf file using my Ansible playbook. Okay. And this will be node specific. Okay. So see, it is server underscore name. So instead of using local host, I will be using the actual host name of the server. So that way it will be unique default.conf file. Okay. So it will be node specific. You can say server specific. So let's go to your control machine once again and say update default.conf file on remote servers. Okay. So for that again I will be using template, and you can say template slash let us suppose I would say default dot conf dot, you can say j2. Okay. And destination you can say uh, etc nginx conf dot d and default dot conf. Okay. Now set the ownership, set the group ownership as root, set the permission as 644. Okay. So this is how I have added the task to copy, or you can say update default.conf file on my remote server. Okay. And one more thing, you can say backup is yes, because the file on the remote server is already existing. Okay. Default.conf file is already existing. So before update this file, just take the backup of this file. Okay. Okay, so I'm done. Let's save and exit this file and go inside your template. Okay, I think default.conf.j2 is already there, so let's remove it and create once again for you. Default.conf, sorry, let's open it and say server. So there are some parameters which I'm going to use. Okay, listen, I can say 443 and SSL. Okay, and I will say root. My root will be like slash us share. Okay. And what was the location? It was it was us share nginx html. So this was the location of my root. Okay. Now let us define your index. Index is your index.html or index.html htm. Okay. And you can define your server name here, server underscore name. Okay. So here you can say Ansible underscore node name. So this is again the fact variable name. Okay. The value of this variable will be the host name of your server. Okay. Now SSL certificate. SSL certificate. Cert underscore file. Sorry. Yeah. So every line should be terminated by a semicolon. So that is the syntax of this template file. Certificate underscore key and the value. uh, I will put here the name of the variable, that is key underscore file. Okay. So we have already declared and we have already defined these variables in my playbook. Okay, so it will get the value from there. So cert underscore file and key underscore file. Let's go back and open your YML once again. Okay, so cert underscore file and key underscore file is already defined here, and I think I'm good to go. So let's execute your playbook. Let's run it with hyphen hyphen check option first to see if any syntax error or not. Yeah. So no error, no syntax error in my playbook. So I'm good to go. So let's run it with without hyphen hyphen check option this time. Okay. So it has been executed successfully. So now there is one thing which I'm still missing in my playbook. I have started my nginx web server. Okay. So you have modified your configuration file. Okay. But it will not be affected until you restart your services. Okay. So it will not be effective until you restart your nginx web service. So either I can say restart it here. Okay. This is one of the method, or you can use handler. Okay. So let me tell you how to use handler. So you can just say notify restart nginx. Okay. And here you have to use handler. Okay. And handler name would be the same as you defined in your notify. So in notify you said that the name would be restart nginx. So here also you have to change it to restart nginx. So it will just like a control. So when you say notify restart nginx, it will pass the controller to handler. So it should be same. So it will behave like your function. Okay. So here what you are doing, you are restarting your services. Okay. So let's run your playbook once again. Hmm. Okay. Yeah. So let's go to your server now. So let's cancel this one. Yeah. Let's go to your server, and we can open the web page here only using Linux command. Now you have to use HTTPS. Okay. And the machine host name, or what you can do, you can just check your host name. Okay. Linux HTTPS colon slash slash, give the host name here. Okay. And say 443, or it is not required. Okay. So it says that unable to contact to remote server. So let's use local host. I think it is not able to resolve it. It still says unable to contact. Okay. So let's try to run with HTTP. So it is still on HTTP. Okay. So it means what? It means my services are yet to be restarted. So handler didn't work. Okay. Can you see in your playbook output? Handler was not executed, right? So handler was not executed. Let's open your playbook once again. So here I said that I have, added notify restart nginx, and I'm using handler, and the name of the handler is restart nginx, and it is a service module, name nginx, state restarted. So it is all fine, but still it is not running. Why? See, remember the item potency. Okay, see, it will restart nginx web service only when the default .conf file is different. Okay, whatever we have copied to the remote server from my Ansible control machine, if it is different, then only it will call this handler. Otherwise, it will not restart nginx web service. Okay, so this time, because I had already executed the playbook once before including this notify and handler. So my template file, that is Jinja 2 template file, and the default .conf file on my remote machine are same. That's the reason it didn't call my handler. Okay, so now what you can do, you can just go ahead and do some modification on your default .conf file on your remote machine. Okay, let's go there and let's change something. Okay, I have removed 3 from there, so do some minor change. Okay, do the same on your uh, other machine. Go inside etc and nginx config.t and default.conf. Okay, and modify something, any word or anything you can just modify. Okay, I'm removing 3. Anyway, it will update it once again when you will execute your playbook, and then it will notice the difference. It will copy the template file to my remote machine. Okay, and then it will restart the services. See, now this time it has restarted my nginx web services. Why? Because there was some difference. There was some error, you can say. So it was not same as we do have in our template file. So it has updated this default.conf file on both the servers. Okay, after that it has restarted nginx web service through handler. Okay, now you can go ahead and check the web space through Linux. Let's get the host name first. So this is my host name. Okay, and here you can say https colon slash slash this. So it says that self-signed certificate continue. Yes, yes. Okay, now I can see the index.html file, right? So now it is working on https. Okay, and if you will try to open it on http, it should not be allowing you, right? This will not be opened. Just links. Is it opening? No, right? Because now SSL has been enabled. So you have to use HTTPS. Okay, now it says self-signed certificate, continue, yes, yes. Then you will be able to see your web page, index.html page. Okay, so we have enabled SSL authentication through Playbook. So this is for today's session. So I'm going to end this session now only. Okay, so you can practice yourself. You can launch VM, or you can use VMware. You can launch two machine, three machines, three VMs on your laptop, or you can use Amazon. You can launch two, three EC2 and start practicing. Okay, this is very easy. You have already seen it. The writing of the playbook, okay, reading of the playbooks, both are very easy to pick up. Okay, so thank you. I hope you liked this video. Thanks. Bye.